We on? Okay, hello boys and girls. This is Michael. I'm actually been practicing all morning. I am sweaty and dirty and covered in drumstick shavings, but I was sitting here playing and I remembered that I had wanted to do a quick video on Phil Rudd and Let There Be Rock. And actually, I'm going to do something that's a little bit more formal, but while I had it fresh in my mind, I just wanted to talk a little bit about what makes Phil Rudd as spectacular of a drummer as he is, and probably one of the most underestimated, understated, and forgotten drummers. You know, when you talk about the greatest drummers of rock and roll, Phil Rudd always seems to be left out of the mix. And in my opinion, he is probably one of the all-time greatest hard rock drummers. The idea of minimalism and saying more with less, he is the epitome of that. He is a master of the pocket. He is an absolute master of the groove. Other musicians rave about his simplicity, his ability to lock into a feel and a tempo and maintain that. The guy is a machine and has done songs and albums that are timeless, that we still look at today and listen to today with awe. And, you know, some people have said, you know, he's done songs where he doesn't even do a drum fill in the song. And yet, if you listen to the drums, it is some of the most powerful drumming you could possibly want to hear. So Let There Be Rock is one of AC/DC's biggest crowd pleasers whenever they do it live. And even back when they did it with Bon Scott, that song always had a very long stretched out section in the middle where Angus would do one of his long solos. Sometimes he would come out and do a striptease act, and Phil Rudd was just in the back, man, just locking it down and maintaining that incredible tempo. And he's actually, as he's gotten older, he plays less, which even works better. And what I mean by that is when you listen to Let There Be Rock, it's a song that on the album, when they first recorded it, it had eighths on the hi-hat, quarters on the bass drum, and it had sort of a real push feel to it. And I want to add also, Phil Rudd is a guy who prides himself on the fact that he's never used a click track. And most of us out there need a click track, but he is renowned for being able to lock into the tempo and hold that tempo throughout. So if you listen to AC/DC, his stuff isn't always exactly perfect because he does not use a click, but he's so tight that you'd never know. So when they recorded this song originally, and one thing too, when I'm done with this, I'm going to put the links to the videos of the original album version and of one of the more recent live versions, so you can see the evolution or de-evolution of when the young Phil Rudd did that song and now the 60-something-year-old Phil Rudd did that song. And I think the original track, I didn't write it down, I think the BPM is like between 90 and 100 or so, and that song is probably maybe a 2.5, 3-minute song max. When they do that live now, and these guys are in their 60s, it's a 17-minute full-on jam. And Phil's actually sitting back there smoking a cigarette, you know, total Phil style, just laying it down, man, and just locked in, and he's in his 60s. And I'm 41 years old. I'm not in the best of shape, but I'm you know, not 60. And when I play that song, I get tight. It gets tight up here in the arms. You start sweating, and it's just the type of song that it takes a certain level of endurance to be able to see your way through it. And try to play the 17-minute version, and you will get a workout like you've never experienced before. So real quick, real casual, nothing really mind-blowing here, just kind of want to bring it to your attention. Original Let There Be Rock, right? It went something like this. And one thing about Phil Rudd that a lot of people who aren't drummers probably don't know, but he has this ability. He plays the hi-hat. He's not just playing, you know, songs like Back in Black and that. He's not just sitting back there going straight. He's got almost like a swing feel to it. It's almost like versus he goes. Playing with the edge of the stick on the side of the hi-hat, giving it an accent. It's almost like a triplet kind of feel to it. It's absolutely brilliant, and it makes that sound so much fuller and so much richer within the reference of the rhythm. So Let There Be Rock, right? Starts out, first album cut. he locks in, and I think, you know, the only fill, they drop that thing out, and Angus does this little thing, and he's like... Now that he's older, he's actually dropped out the... and he's just straight, but they've upped the tempo. It's faster than it was before, and they're playing it for 17 minutes. So he's literally back there going... right? And it's brilliant. It's so simple, it's so understated, and not only does it lock the band in to this great pocket groove, but it gives Malcolm, Angus's brother, the rhythm guitarist, who usually stands over here, and Brian Williams, I think is his name, Cliff Williams, the bassist, the opportunity to sort of lock into their groove, and they've got that flow. And that bass kicks in, it's like do-da-do-do-do-do, you know, and Phil's just back there going. Or when he was doing it, or when he was younger, he was like. And as a drummer, you can feel that. You can feel it here, and it resonates with the audience. And it just, I've seen it, and it just brings everybody up into that, just that, the heartbeat of that song. It's absolutely amazing. And drummers today wouldn't do that. They wouldn't have the balls or the guts just to sit back there and do that. And they'd be back there going... right? Or they'd be... you know, or some other kind of right? Because that's that feel, that groove that the rhythm guitars and the bass have going against Angus's guitar. It's right? So as a drummer, especially people like me, I used to have a real heavy foot, and it's something that I'm really working on. It's easy to try and overplay that. And that's what makes Phil Rudd brilliant and one of my favorite drummers in the world, is because Phil Rudd has the balls to sit back there and just go and kick ass. So do yourself a favor, if you're not familiar with Phil Rudd, even if you're not an AC/DC fan, even if you're not a hard rock fan, you can't help but listen to this guy and just appreciate his ability to lock into a groove and the simplicity of which he plays. His drumming has had a huge impact on me. I actually try to play more and more like him. I find myself playing less and less. I take away drums. I take away cymbals. I try to bring everything down to its bare minimum because for me personally as a drummer, you know, that's where I find myself being the most creative. And I'm not a guy with gospel chops. I'm not going to sit back here and I'm not doing inverted 30-second note polyrhythms and all that kind of stuff. You know, I'm more of a groove kind of player myself. So I just really, really hope that people appreciate Phil Rudd for what he is, what makes him stand out, and not what he does that makes him so great, but what he doesn't do. So take an opportunity, check out Phil Rudd. Think about what he's doing. Think about that philosophy. Try to play that. Try to approach that in your drumming. Also, you know, sometimes it's great just to put on a straight 4/4, whether it's a song or a click, and just lock in, man. Just lock in. I could sit there and play straight 4/4 for an hour, and it would drive my family nuts, so my neighbors would probably call the cops. But, you know, there's something about locking into that heartbeat and that rhythm of a song. And the simpler grooves, for me, tend to resonate the most. So, anyway, take it for what it's worth. I hope to see you soon.